McCauley, and I'm at in Syracuse, New York. And this is session 32 of this group, and we've been doing it for 17 years. And some sessions, especially like session 1 and the first session after the pandemic, we set the world on fire. I mean, there was we were just, every week, people were losing, they were paying attention. And this session has been, I would say, ever watch a TV show and you're watching an episode and Bob and I will say, it's a filler. Like they give you the background and you kind of watch it, but you're waiting for something really good to happen, maybe in the next episode. So I kind of see this session as a filler session, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with learning, with embracing the idea of eating less and moving more and being healthy, and maybe not setting the world on fire right away. And that brings us to January, February, March, when we're all just begging God for spring. Those are the hardcore months, at least for me. They've always been the months. If someone goes nuts at Valentine's Day, that's on them, or St. Patrick's Day. I'm Irish, and I can make it through there, no trouble. So I'd like to see us finish out this session with an effort. I know it's Thanksgiving, but it doesn't mean we have to have the food be the center of our gratitude. We can enjoy it, have some, but we don't have to. Chris and Bob and I went on a cruise, and we enjoyed ourselves. We had some drinks, we had some food, and Chris and I stayed the same, and Bob actually lost weight, which I kind of hate him for, but anyway. But you can have a good time and not gain 10 pounds, And this quote, I want you to take and put on your refrigerator. It's not about perfect, it's about effort. And when you bring that effort every single day, that's where transformation happens, and that's how change occurs. I can tell every week who has tried this past week and who hasn't. And it's not just from the weight gain or loss. It's just from an attitude, it's from how you're moving, how you're looking at life, because weight maintenance is more than the pounds on the scale. A lot of it's here, a lot of it's here. So let's try to finish session 32 the best we can, and let's look at session 33 and say, I'm going to set 33 on fire, okay? And it's funny that Judy would bring up, and I didn't mention my thoughts on the Bible readings, but the one thing that I always say when it gets to this reading is that, you've got the people on the corner with the placard saying, the end is near, and everyone laughs, and we don't know when the end is near. We don't know about the world, but we also don't know about our own lives. We don't know when Jesus is going to call us home, and the thing is, we can do some things to make ourselves healthier so that we can enjoy whatever time He does give us. And I firmly believe, and there are people in this group from age 20, in the 20s, all the way up to the 90s. And I think you can get healthier no matter what age you are, no matter what physical condition you're in. If you've got a chronic disease or chronic illness, you can still get healthier in certain areas of your life. And that's why we're going to talk tonight. And Judy mentioned continue without fading. And that's what we need to do as far as being vigilant about our health. And so you have to know what the health risks are. And people think, well, you're either going to get cancer or you're not. There's nothing you can do about it. But that's really not true. By the age of 50, we've already gotten 70% the billion cells in our body with cancer-associated mutations. Now, do they flip the switch and become mutated? Not in everybody, but many, many people do get cancer as you get older, and it's not always a death sentence. I don't want people to raise their hand, but I know for a fact there are many people in this room that have been fighting and successfully in remission for breast cancer, for melanomas, and sunlight. You know, I got a little color on the cruise, but not what the old Ellen might have tried to do. I had sunscreen 100 on me, slathered, because you can prevent certain skin cancers by being vigilant. Also, pollutants. And there's pollutants in a lot of the processed food that we eat. All those chemicals that go into our bodies go, what do I do with these? The more naturally we eat, the more organic we eat, the less chance we will to get something like cancer. And one of the big things is screenings. If my doctor says, you need a mammogram, I don't go, oh yeah, I go, wait, let's go, I'll do it. All right? If I need a colonoscopy, bing, bang, boom, I'm there, I'm doing it. There is no reason, if you've got insurance, which everyone should have insurance, that you should be getting the necessary screenings. The average age for breast cancer diagnosis used to be 62. It's becoming much younger these days because of the pollutants, because of the chemicals. Cancer, for colon cancer, 66 for men, 69 for women. And you don't have to say, oh my gosh, I'm 68. You do the best you can to try to be healthy, and you put yourself in God's hands. I think every person in this room would raise their hand if I said, do you know someone fighting cancer? Everyone would, because it is very prevalent in our world today. And also, the vitamins and minerals that we should be taking should be from our food and veggies, fruit and vegetables, as often as possible. I have this friend who walks around with a baggie of supplements, and she takes like 30 a day. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a little fish oil maybe, or an extra vitamin D, but most of our vitamins and minerals should be coming from fruits and veggies. Taking a brisk walk. If you cannot walk, you must find something you can do. Sitting in a lazy boy, getting your heart rate up, lifting some cans. Fighting with your husband to get your heart rate up. You gotta find something to do, okay, to get that heart rate up. And another thing is worry less, and that is so easy to say. You can be the most Bible-reading, rosary-saying person out there. It is so hard to turn off that worry switch, especially when it comes to family, loved ones. Now, one thing I don't talk about at Pray It Off is smoking. I don't think anyone in the group smokes because I would smell it. But if you do, really think about maybe cutting that out, because it really isn't good for you, okay? And then as far as your heart disease goes, I go to a cardiologist once a year because I have a low heart rate, and it's just the way I was born, just the way I am. It's all part of my slow metabolic rate, my slow metabolism, and they just want to make sure I never need a pacemaker. But it's good to go, because now I know what kind of shape I'm in, and I'm in very good shape. You should know your numbers. Go to Kitty's, take your blood pressure. Get one of those home cuffs. They're not that expensive. I told you last week, I take my blood pressure the first of every month. Know what your cholesterol is. I can tell you what mine is. I think a lot of people here have no idea what their cholesterol is. And that's an important number when it comes to heart and stroke health. Also, hit the trail. And what hit the trail means is get out in nature. Even if you have trouble walking, there's nothing wrong with it. There's some people that the first bad weather, the only time they're outside is like walking from the parking lot into Pray It Off. and every time else they're inside. We have to breathe that fresh air and get outside. And they're saying if you can walk, you should try to get yourself up to 40 minutes of walking per day, 5 days a week. Now that's a lot of walking, but it's the most healthiest thing for you. And then it's saying, you know, I know intermittent fasting is really popular and a lot of people skip breakfast, but for heart and stroke health, they're saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day and you really need to pack it with protein. I never even dreamed of having turkey for breakfast until I saw on Katie's food blog years ago, and now I have turkey all the time for breakfast. Also, make time for intimacy. I don't always talk about intimacy at Pray It Off, but it is important if you're in a loving marriage to be intimate with your spouse, not only for your health, but for your marriage. And unintentional injuries. This is something that in 2023, I fell a couple, not 2023, what is it, 2024? Yes, it was 2022. The reason I bring that up is because you should always know when your last fall was, because believe me, once you turn 70, they ask you. So my last fall was in 2022. And since then, I've been vigilant to watch where I'm going, to slow down a little bit, to not just willy-nilly go out into this world, because a fall is everywhere. These steps are a fall risk, everywhere is a fall risk. I don't care if you're in your 20s, I don't care if you're 30s, 40s. You have to look out for those unintentional injuries. Do you know how many kids I substitute taught yesterday at one of the elementary schools? At least 5 kids had cast out from falling. They're kids. Their bones are strong. Not as strong as when they get older, but still, you need to take your time and slow down. Understand how vulnerable you are. You can't have 10 beers like you used to. Maybe you can have 1 or 2. And you know, that's funny. Bob and I were talking about it. You know, you slow down with some of your partying because you're older and your body is vulnerable. Also, make sure you have a list of everything you take. If I went around and said, if you're on medication, show me your meds. You should be able to show me your meds immediately. Either have it on your phone, have it on a list, because you could fall and have to go to the hospital right now. Look what it's doing on your refrigerator. I only take, God's blessed me, some supplements, fish oil, and D. It's written right on the list in my wallet. Also, make sure you're not taking 2 things. It's like one of the Met Group members, I'm not going to name her name, she got COVID. So she couldn't come tonight. First time COVID. So if you haven't ever had COVID, don't get cocky. Bob and me. I'm trying not to get cocky. So first time COVID. So her doctor says, I called you in, blah, blah. I don't know all the drugs for COVID or whatever. So she says to the doctor, are you sure, she had to call back, are you sure I can have that? Because I saw somewhere where you can't have that if you're on this medication. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right. Who is the boss of your health? Your doctor or you? You are the boss. I can't tell you how many times they gave my mother or my sister Kathy, which is at St. Camilla's, and I tried to give them an antibiotic that they were allergic to. You have to be the voices. Also, treat pain and sleep orders naturally. You know, I think people have gotten very vigilant about opioids, but there's still doctors out there that will prescribe those kinds of things. I don't even like to take aspirin. I'm like, okay, I got a really bad headache, maybe I'll have a Tylenol. Because I just feel people take too much things. But I am a firm believer in PT. If you've got a pain anywhere, you should go to PT. Your back hurts, your butt hurts, your shoulder hurts, your wrist hurts, go to PT. I'm a firm believer. It changed my life. I went to PT and I ended up going to the gym afterwards and really going to Silver Sneakers because I realized just how bad a shape I was in. Also, sleep disorders. you really need to treat those sleep disorders by losing weight. Now, some of you will have sleep disorders if you're your goal weight, but some of you are having a little sleep apnea because you've got that extra belly weight right here. I'm gonna stop right there, Bobby.